Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bombcast. I am Saw.
I am Bomb,
I'm Indy Bob.
and this has been a long time coming.
So today on the Bombcast, we are going to not get interrupted. Thank you, Bomb. Cut. So
Just like old times.
on today, we are going to be doing our own retrospective on the Star Wars sequel trilogy. If anyone's familiar with the Bombcast, we did one for Last Jedi some years ago, actually, and it was a little more freeform, and I would say our opinions have definitely, I don't know, changed, but as far as that trilogy is concerned, we never did anything for Rise of Skywalker, and I don't think we spoke too much about Force Awakens in that one.
We did not.
So on this, we're going to give our retrospective some years later, now that we've had enough time to digest, more than enough time to digest that trilogy and some of the pros that come afterward. There is a caveat to this. We are not going to be discussing everything regarding the Disney Star Wars era. This is exclusively the sequel trilogy, and the comparison material will be the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, and the Clone Wars TV show. We are going to include that as possible discussion material purely because we see that as vital enough to the overall saga at this point to include as if it were a movie, which one of them was a movie.
Also, Disney kind of shoehorned a few bits in there.
They did. Some of their sequel stuff was better than others. The season 7 definitely was a good contribution, I would say.
Bad Batch was pretty good.
I liked Bad Batch.
Yeah, I really did like that. I think it's a really anything like Clone Wars related was interesting.
Yeah, that was good. So was Andor was good. Although Andor is not going to be a topic today. In fact, we're probably only going to brush on Rogue One and Solo at best, but we're really focusing on the sequel trilogy. So to begin, we're going to have our opening remarks. We're going to give a very brief general summary of what we think of this trilogy going into it, and then we're going to discuss it to begin with. So I'm going to open it first to Indy Bob. What is your initial remark on this trilogy?
I lean back and forth between I thought it was good, I thought it was not that great in a lot of areas. There were some really high points. I personally I still think to this day Last Jedi is probably my favorite one of them all. I know the universally agreed upon one is probably Force Awakens, but everyone else kind of just isn't really fond of Rise of Skywalker in particular. I think there are merits to all three of them if you really look hard enough, but I definitely see where a lot of the holes are in a lot of them. And I think those holes kind of enlarge as each film goes on. At the same time, I also feel like both the previous trilogies kind of had holes as well. Prequel trilogy was definitely prone to such criticisms before, but I think it was a lot more they weren't as lenient about it with about holding back on criticism with the sequel trilogy. But because the sequel trilogy got a lot of hate, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I hate it. I think there's stuff they could have done better, but overall, I don't think it's okay in my book. Overall, not too great, not too bad.
All right, Bomb.
I remember going into it being like, oh my god, they're putting new Star Wars stuff out. It's a cool thing. It's like a new Star Wars for our generation, and I really enjoyed Force Awakens, at least for what it was. It was like, okay, this first movie was basically just A New Hope again, but hey, it's the first thing that they've done in a long time. I enjoy it for what it was, but they can't do something like this again. I know at the time we all agreed to that sentiment, where it's like, hey, this is fine. Let's hope that there's some new stuff going in forward. The second movie, I liked some ideas from it, but pacing was a little weird. There were some weird character choices I didn't like, and there was some ideas that I liked, and that really does do with all with switching directors at the time and then switching back for the last movie, which the third movie I just don't like at all. At least with the second movie there were some ideas that I thought were interesting and they could have gone through, but it felt like since J.J. Abrams took the reins back, it's like, okay, let's throw out everything in the second movie and just do what the most fan servicey bullshit that I've heard in a while and just roll along with it. And I like my fan service as much as the next guy, but I just felt like it was too much. I felt like they could have change quite a few things, and it still would have been a better movie for it. They could have. I think they should have stuck with some of the ideas with the second movie and just kept it there. That's what I personally think.
Okay. Well, as far as my opening goes for this, I think these movies were effectively doomed from the start. I do agree that Force Awakens was better of the trilogy. Definitely had the most potential going in. That's effectively what they made it to be. Last Jedi definitely left a sour taste in my mouth coming out of it. And Rise of Skywalker, I will be honest, I was so hoping that movie would be good that I actually deluded myself into thinking it was okay when we first walked out of theaters. I actually gaslit myself into liking that movie for like a solid 3 days before truth hit me in the face and just said, stop, you know what this is. Let it go. You really are not winning in overtime here.
Let the past die. Yeah. Kill it if you have to.
Honestly, this is like the one film where that applies. So I think it is just an unfortunate mishap of a trilogy that really had something but failed. That is my personal take. So we will begin next on our personal reminiscence, which Bomb actually got us started with that. So I'll let him continue a little bit from, I believe you had most going on Force Awakens there. So how was that when you were first seeing it?
When I first saw it, I saw it with Indie Bob at the time. So when we saw it, we were super hyped up for the new Star Wars movie because we didn't get to anything new Star Wars that was like live action. We had like Clone Wars stuff there, and that was like a thing. But other than that, that was it. We didn't get anything big. So I ended up we watched it. I forget which theater. It was a local theater, and we thought, oh my god, some of these ideas were interesting. Some of these ideas were cool, but like I didn't. On my first viewing, funny enough, I did not connect the dots originally that this was just a New Hope or New Hope, and I had to essentially be told later that was basically it. But I overall enjoyed the movie at the time. Nowadays, I'm just kind of, it's a bit lower for me. It just felt kind of like with Episode 9, a lot of pandering, a lot of this and that. I think there were some ideas they could have gone with that were a bit better, such as just some of the character writing was not great at all.
I agree with that. I think they had a little more good character writing going for characters in Force Awakens. I wouldn't give it too much credit on that personally, but going into that, because I saw that movie in IMAX when it first came out at Regal.
Oh yeah?
Back when they had Regal still.
Mm-hmm.
That one was definitely a sight. I remember the lead up, like the marketing for this movie was immense.
Yeah.
Well, everyone was talking about this film. Everyone was so happy. And going into it, it was really an experience. I walked out of the theater in 2015, honestly really liking it. Don't know if I would say love, but I really liked it going out. So it gave me a ton of hope. The hope was a little bit dwindled after Last Jedi. I remember going to that theater. That was when Marcus had the ultra screens.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing. I remember, at least with Last Jedi, at least with the idea of Rey, the biggest thing that I loved, Rey is a nobody. Just her parents were fucking nobodies. I loved that idea. Just because of, like, they could have done the route of, which they did in Episode 9, by the way, with Rey just being, like, related to Luke or Leia or Han or somebody to, get the freaking hype up for it. It's like, no, she was in an unfortunate circumstances. She was not really remembered or loved or anything by, like, any sort of external family or anything like that. And I liked that idea. And I think they could have went more with it, But then, Episode 9 with, oh, you are Palpatine's granddaughter. Also, somehow Palpatine returned, by the way. Read the comics!
Yeah, Oscar Isaac just sighing as he knows that the only people who are going to get this are people that played Fortnite.
Oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
That's what that announcement, when it says like an echo goes across the galaxy, that announcement does happen, but it was only aired in Fortnite live. So, I mean, I don't know. What was your experience on this, Indy?
And what in particular, like which movie in particular?
Yes,
like how do you remember seeing these movies? Like,
I was excited for it. I couldn't wait. Like from each like opening shot of like the first trailer, like dude, these are like first we got a black stormtrooper, we got a weird rolling droid ball rolling on a ball, We got this chick just on this like in the desert, just riding on this big fucking speeder. Like that would have been cool to see more of. Then this pilot, this badass rebel pilot, we get to see X-wings again, cooler, newer X-wings. I think they're pretty cool too, as the original. And then we see like basically like none of him for like most of the first movie, which sucks because Poe is dope, dude. And then, but we thankfully get to see more of him in later movies. I liked Poe. I wish they could have done more with him in 7, but I think that's also like another supplemental. That's another thing. That's one thing I also kind of realized as time went on about these movies I didn't really like. And to be fair, the other trilogies are kind of guilty of this too, but not as egregiously as this. A lot of the missing bits of 7, 8, and 9, you kind of have to be brushed up on like some of the supplemental material, like how Phasma just suddenly returns out of just after just being like off screen in episode 7, just put him in the trash compactor. Literally, it's the whole put him on the bus trope, and then the bus just comes back, and then Phasma comes out, and then she dies. I'm like properly, and we see her just die. I'm like, okay, but if she comes back in 9, I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, they had a whole comic tie-in on that.
Yeah.
I never read the comic. I just looked up the panels that had Phasma's escape.
Give
When
the
that
Boba Fett
happened.
I actually read the comics. They're not missing much.
Okay. I mean, part of me wanted to read that. I remember like keeping up on. I didn't read the books, but I was keeping track of what books were coming out around that time.
Yeah.
I remember the Phasma book came out, and it was like, oh, this is gonna explain her rise to power, and I'm like, okay, that's that helps, I guess, if you really want it, but at the same time, like, you can't rely on supplemental material like this to make someone care. Like, people cared about Boba Fett because he was kind of cool in episode 5, and people wanted more of him as a result.
Boba Fett's kind of the same deal, though. It's the Boba effect, like the Boba Fett effect for Phasma as well. Like, supplemental material makes her even cooler, more than she already kind of lets on. But the difference is, at least Boba Fett, I always was kind of just like against the idea of like Boba Fett coming back from the Sarlacc pit. Like, this is before Book of Boba Fett, but like just touching on that a little bit. But like, at least with that, that's one of the few things. I know people are dividing on Book of Boba Fett, but I actually kind of like the direction they went with that, at least in terms of Boba himself as a character.
That's another thing.
I think they pulled that off better than everything they did with Phasma.
I always have a huge problem when media specifically is like, okay, oh, these are these characters. They showed up. How do we explain them? Gotta read the supplemental material. If you do not have everything in your story, like everything you need to know in your story, it's a bad story. It's just plain and simple. Like,
even Maul suffers from this, so he's still loved.
Certain problems, like, you can use it to elevate a character, and that is okay. But in order to explain huge chunks of backstory, their actual fucking character, why they're even there, that is a sign of a terribly written or really kind of just throwaway character. Like, oh, we need to have a rival for Poe or something like that, just because it's like, oh, this weird silver stormtrooper is a chrome, because everything's chrome in the future. And
I mean, the suit was cool.
It was super cool. Her look was awesome.
Her character didn't match it.
Oh, she's on Fraud Watch. She was on Fraud Watch from minute 1. And just, it doesn't matter that it's like, oh, you have these supplemental books that shows like, oh, yeah, she's super cool. She's got all these cool feats or whatever. It doesn't, when we actually watch the movies that, let's be honest, nobody besides Star Wars fans or anyone who is curious is going to read the supplemental stuff. All you're going to remember about her is like, oh wow, this character was here. Shame she kind of died like a bitch. Twice. Back from the dead, asshole. It's like that Robot Chicken Boba Fett bit. But which is oddly enough gives Boba Fett more character than Book of Boba Fett, but regardless, it's a problem with the sequel trilogy as a whole. Because they'll introduce characters that are supposed to be super important. We're supposed to care about them, but we don't get anything from them unless you get supplemental material. And I don't like that. I really don't.
Well, that actually transitions to our next topic very easily, which is the lows.
Yeah. No, I've given the lows. That is the biggest low.
Oh, shit, that reminds me. I gotta go to Lowe's and get my stuff from the department store. I'll be right back, guys. Keep going.
Can we talk about the side quest really quick in episode 8?
The
Never mind, it's closed.
Yeah, please.
It's closed.
It is super weird that there is a choice where, hey, let's interrupt the story real quick to go essentially on a side quest to a random casino planet to do whatever we need to do, which I forget at the time.
They had to find the code breaker.
Right, the code breaker.
Bite.
Right. But it's like, they could have done it probably so much better. It's a really weird...
Red Palm Bloom.
I remember at the time, people called it the side quest, including myself, just because I thought why did we need to go to this planet for this code breaker, which I think the code breaker betrays them at some point anyway.
Well, it wasn't even the actual Master Codebreaker. They never even got to meet. They only saw him. But then it was another guy who was in the cell with him, DJ. Yeah. And we only see him in that movie. We never see him after that.
Well, that guy, that just leads to another low I have, which I would say the biggest low for at least Last Jedi, absolutely, is the fact that the movie is obsessed with subversion.
Yeah.
It wants to twist expectations at every single minute, and it works
honestly, sometimes, but not always.
I wouldn't even say sometimes.
Not even.
I can't. The only thing I think was kind of cool with subversion was Kylo getting a once-over on Snoke. Having Kylo actually dupe Snoke and become the main villain after that, that's like the one piece of subversion in that movie I liked. Everything else, I don't like how they did the Marvel effect of there's got to be comedy everywhere. Because this is the thing that actually hit me with Force Awakens, was the fact that outside of like the one joke where Poe does like, who talks first, you talk first, I talk first, rewatching it, I was surprised how well that opening for Force Awakens is, because you get a lot of good material just out of, Poe's here, the First Order shows up, you get good establishment of who the threats are, how powerful Kylo is, the importance of this mission. We get a good introduction to Rey, I will say.
Don't forget Finn. We also got to see Finn for like a
Finn,
little bit.
I really liked what they were doing with Finn, because I would say with Force Awakens, I enjoyed just about everything up until they took the Falcon. Then it started to go down a little bit. I would say the biggest low of Force Awakens for me was...
Remember Star Wars?
Well, yeah, it was... Well, one, the rehashing got a little absurd at the end, but I would say the biggest low would honestly be the fact that it's how it ended. They gave Rey the path to Luke and had her just show up. They didn't give any possibility for a time jump. Yeah, I feel like they could have done so much if they had just been like, here's Luke, we need to, like, we found the quadrant he's in, we need to find the exact location, and made a time jump of them searching, because the other Star Wars movies, I'd say, really benefited from having time jumps between each film, because it allowed them to justify characters getting better between films, but also the ability to set up the plot for the next movie very well, which Force Awakens doesn't give any leeway to. They find Luke and they end it there. You can't time jump that without making it wonky, so you have to follow it up, which is going to be a bit difficult, because how do you have someone like Rey who has no idea how to use the Force going against... Because that whole fight was that she got her Luke moment, the lucky break that Luke got in New Hope, but Luke had to train afterwards to get any semblance of skill at all.
Oh, yeah, Rey... I forgot. It's a very short amount of time where Rey's just like, I don't know how to use... I'm not trained at all, too. I can use the Force like a Jedi Master.
She fights the top elite Praetorian Guards at the end of Last Jedi. And the plot between the two movies takes place like in a week or something.
Right. Because, it's Rey's a bit of a Mary Sue. Because I think after episode 7, her character basically goes down the drain. As in, what character?
Personally, for me, I would say they really tried to give her some interesting development in Last Jedi when she's on the island with Luke, but then I think they botch it a bit. And then my low for Rise of Skywalker is just everything about Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker was the low of the movie.
No, if there's a low for the trilogy, it is this movie. It was the only movie rewatching I couldn't finish in one sitting. I had to stop watching because I could not finish this stupid movie. I honestly tried. I was about to quit like halfway through, and then I powered through, and then I got to the point where she's heading to Exegol, and I quit. I quit this, and I had to rewatch it the next day, and I like cleaned my apartment as I was watching it because I couldn't even sit still and watch this movie. Like it's worse than I remember it. Honestly, the whole thing. Honestly,
I'm going to take over your body, granddaughter. Why don't you just make it? You're a clone, right? Yes. Why don't you just make a younger clone?
well, I get that they tried to do that, but honestly, I think the thing that hit me the most in the beginning was the editing. Like, oh my goodness, the film just goes from beat to beat to beat to beat with no stop whatsoever. They make Poe have an issue with Rey for no reason.
The pacing is all over the place with 9.
Also, any character from Episode 8.
It
Ooh,
would've been
I'm
there for
sorry,
me
she's
longer.
gone. She's gone now.
Yeah, Rose is sidelined. Basically, everyone is sidelined. I didn't like Holdo in Episode 8 either. That's another low. I did not like what they were trying to do with her, but that's another thing. And really, I just don't like Episode 9.
I really don't.
Like,
either.
I thought I was honestly going to have more to say about Episode 9, but after watching it, I just don't want the film to exist, honestly. I was going to have a deeper talk, but no, I'm actually going to turn it to Indy because I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
About which movie? 'Cause I'm not gonna...
Episode 9, what are your lows for this trilogy?
I know just as much as you, man. I didn't do my homework. I'll be blunt with it.
Well,
what were your thoughts, Bob?
Well, he already gave his lows. What are
For
your
9? What was your lows of 9?
Okay, fine.
If it's gonna have any more substance than Saws.
They really needed another look at that draft. It's weird that they in Episode 8 and they set up. I don't think did they set up a love relationship between them at the end of 8
Who's them?
between Rey and Kylo. Like, because I know that
There were teasers.
it's like, I don't think that's where that was going. I legitimately thought it was just, join me as a master and student sort of thing. So, which, again, I think that was an idea that they could have went with and probably made something out of it. But no, let's have the emo guy that just don't understand falls in love with the main protagonist because he's super cool and awesome like that. It's weird.
It's like how an action movie always shoehorns the romance right at the final
3
scene.
words summarize that movie. Somehow, Palpatine returned. Just can't with that. I really can't with that.
Yeah, I think that actually speaks to the larger issue that is probably the worst component of this trilogy, was the fact that there was no plan going into it.
I think, yeah.
Because the whole thing was J.J. Abrams was given the reins after Disney wanted to launch a new trilogy. But J.J. didn't really want to do the movie. He wanted to really just do his film and make it as safe and clean as possible to set up for another director, which I'm not a fan of at all, because that basically means they made one movie with no plan whatsoever and just said throw it to the next guy. And I mean, I don't blame JJ as much in that scenario of look, he's given a huge platter of a movie in front of him, but he doesn't really want to do it, but he's getting pressured to do it anyway, so fine. And then the problem on that, though, was that Disney gave it to someone who decided he wants to subvert everything. And it's like, oh, okay, we're going to change everything up and do it, which that's fine, but you got to have a plan going in. I don't even know if Rian Johnson even had a plan going into.
If I remember, everything was basically, we'll write as we go.
That's pretty much it. And, I mean, honestly, for Rise of Skywalker, they should have, as much as I didn't like Last Jedi, they should have just kept the theme. Like you said, keep Rey and nobody. I think that was one of the better highs for that movie, that they gave Rey a much more interesting backstory that way. But they decided to give it to JJ, who had no idea what to do next. So they just shoehorn an end a film that, even if you split into 2 movies, would be rushed with how much they tried to cram into that film. And so you just have this trilogy that's infighting itself, and there's no consistent thing. Like, I would say, if you look at the prequels, regardless of your opinion of any individual film, there is an overarching storyline that is connecting all of them, that you can tell at least had passion and thought put into it. Yeah. Regardless of your overall opinion, there's a connecting thread through it. This trilogy does not have that thread. And that kills it, because each film wants to distinguish itself by killing the other.
Let me ask you this. If you guys looked at episode 7, 8, and 9, do you legitimately think it would have ended the way it did, or at least it connected the way it did? I do not believe so.
What do you mean?
Like, I would not have guessed the things that in episode. If I only watched episode 7, I would not have guessed the things that happened in episode 8 would have happened in episode 8. I think it could have gone a bit differently to connect everything. Same with episode 9, which I only watched episode 7, and I look at episode 9, I would not have guessed that it would have done that. Not in a good way. Hey, by the way, how do these ships show up underneath this planet? Who knows? How does any of this stuff matter? Who knows? Why was this under everybody's noses? Read the supplemental material. I just can't with it. And none of the other supplemental TV shows or anything like that make it better. Because I don't know about you guys. I know at least both of you have experiences with some other of the new TV shows that Disney put out for them. I watched a good chunk of them.
Same.
And just, some of them I really like. Like, The Mandalorian's really good. The first season is a really cool self-contained story that can kind of set up for the sequel trilogy. But not really. But it's a very self-contained story. I like that. And then, it got worse. And
I would say season 2 was decent, but not great. But season 3 was just definitely not needed.
I think we've kind of put our opinions on the lows soon. What do we want to discuss the highs for us, or do we want to keep going?
Episode 8 is visually the most stunning.
Well, wait, before we go to that, Indy, I haven't really heard a low from you yet. So what would you put as a low for this trilogy?
The pacing of 9 is not great.
Yeah.
I think it would have benefited from it being longer, and I was sad that it wasn't, to be perfectly honest. Especially considering the lack of time gap between 7 and 8. And that was like the biggest tip off for me, was the fact that when I heard that there was going to be like no gap between 7 and 8, I look back at every like in between of every movie. I'm like, yeah, they all had a time gap. Oh no, oh man, this might not go as well as I want. I liked 8. I still went away from 8 liking it overall. I still think it would have been cooler to see how they would have like where they could have cliffhung 7 and going into 8. And granted, I don't think 8 is perfect. I think it's a visually stunning movie. That's touching up on the highs for a little bit before we get off the lows. I think 8 is a very visually stunning movie, and there's some merits to it. But I do think that it is not without its flaws. But I've come around to like the whole idea that the candle bite thing was kind of just like a needless side quest and stuff. I like some parts about it, but overall there's definitely some like unnecessary bits about it. 9, I've only saw 9 once, and it was in theaters.
That's okay, I've only seen it twice. And that was already too much.
And there was some cool stuff about it that I wish they expanded upon more. And that's another thing about, I think, just the entire trilogy as a whole. Going also off of the whole do your homework with the supplemental material. That's another thing. Like, there's a lot of characters that we just kind of see like one and done. Like Lor San Tekka at the beginting, the old guy who gives Poe the information about Luke.
Didn't watch the movies, but know the side character's name.
Oh yeah. They matter to me, man. I like the side characters. I like the world building that they try to do. I like the character implementing that they try to do. Like all these like neat little like puzzle pieces that just don't end up fitting anywhere that they could have. And if the ones that could, the ones that end up doing like Lor San Tekka at the beginning, just get slashed in the face in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. Like we get like, I think even through Lego games or like the like comics or books, we know more about them and like Poe's mission to find Luke and all that stuff. But like there's a whole bunch that like I wish they could have like slipped in a little more like in the main film so that like we wouldn't have it's kind of like, it's a weird comparison, but like think Metal Gear Solid 1, right? We hear like
for Metal Gear Solid 1.
It's like there's like little bits and pieces about the Zanzibar mission, like the Zanzibar land incident, mixed into one. Like they talk about it. They bring that up fairly frequently here and there throughout Metal Gear Solid 1. But it's a good jump. That game is a good jumping off point for like the rest of the series, and because like it's the first Metal Gear Solid game, and most people just know it as the series as Metal Gear Solid. They may not have played Metal Gear 1 and 2, but 2 is like the integral prelude to everything that becomes in Metal Gear Solid 1, and it fills in a lot of those gaps. You didn't have to experience Metal Gear 2 to understand like what they're talking about in Metal Gear Solid 1. It could be just treated as like, oh, this one incident that happened that's really important to Snake and all that stuff. But Metal Gear 2 really like sets up a lot of like decent backstory and like characters that we end up seeing in Solid 1. I wish we kind of got more a little bit more of that within like episode 7 or like especially episode 7, because that's like the, for a movie that establishes so much, I would have loved to just see them just take their time and like world build and just like flesh out these characters more. Like especially with Poe, I feel like Poe really got shafted. And then Finn got shafted like throughout the whole trilogy. Like we got some decent stuff with him, but like I wanted more with him, man.
I thought he was gonna be a Jedi.
Yeah, we all did.
We all did.
We still want.
Sure, we all do.
Exactly.
Well, all the marketing for Force Awakens basically hinted at him as the Jedi, and everyone thought he was going to be it because the promo had him with the lightsaber during that.
Episode 7 had the Ultimates version.
I feel like everyone thought that Finn was going to be the Jedi, and when everyone walked out a little surprised it was Rey, which is kind of funny because I've seen people try to like memory hold that now, being like, oh yeah, no one wanted Finn to be the Jedi, they wanted Rey to be, and I'm here. I'm like,
is it revision history?
Yeah,
revised history. Though
basically that, where they're like, oh, no one wanted him to be the Jedi in the first place. I'm like, bull.
Yeah, that's
absolute bull. Yeah. Every piece of marketing, every fan discussion was like, yes.
Finn was the first person shown in the trailer, and that's what also has to. And that's going back to revising history, like with that sort of thing. That's the whole thing about like. That's the whole thing with Zeitgeist and like catching up on the hype, like the whole "you had to be there" thing. Like I don't really buy into that too, but there's the part that I do buy into that is making sure that the information was right, like it didn't get like mixed up or anything like that. Like most specifically in terms of that, like the biggest thing is that people didn't like the prequels when it came out. I love the prequels. I went so long in my young life. I went so long not knowing that the prequels were actually hated. I was surprised when I found that out. But no, I'm glad that it's like a lot more loved now. Definitely a lot more back then than back then. But like no, if people try to tell you that the prequels were always loved, I'm sorry to say they were not. And that takes a true sorry. Don't mean to sound entitled, but a true hardcore Star Wars fan to know that was not actually the case. Like, and this is coming from someone who like unconditionally loves Star Wars. I unconditionally love Star Wars, but I also am at the same time I don't really care that much. Like, yeah, if you don't like it, I don't care. I flip flop between like Star Wars is awesome to Star Wars is bad, like on a dime, just to basically avoid confrontation.
Well, that's a very interesting segue. Say you don't care as we shift to the highs.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how much I unconditionally love this trilogy of movies.
Right after saying how much...
No flaws!
Just after we said we don't lose a wink of sleep over it, okay. You clearly got some passion going, so I'm going to turn it over to you to begin the highs.
Like I said, it flip-flops. I think it's the case of I really want to like this trilogy more than I probably shouldn't, you know? If that makes sense. I understand I understand all the flaws. I see them all. I'm willing to look past that in favor of some of the better parts of it.
Like what?
Like, look, fan service is hit or miss.
Can you define fan service before our audience gets confused?
I'm getting there. God, everything has a beginning or end.
I'm just clarifying, man.
All right.
Well, just take it easy, man.
Exactly. Fan service is a very hit or miss sort of thing, especially with something as huge as Star Wars. Episode 9 handles it and doesn't handle it. As time went on, I realized, like, I think the trailers for it really, like, I remember we were pretty decently interested in, like, noticing that Palpatine returned. People didn't even realize that at first. Some people didn't realize at first that was Palpatine who laughed at the end of that one trailer for Episode 9. And I think Bomb was one of those people. Like, I had to clarify, yeah, no, that was definitely him. And then it was confirmed, like, at a Star Wars Celebration, I think of that year, maybe the year before. And, you know, at the time we were like, oh, well, how is he going to play it all into this? And then it comes out and we're like, eh.
We're in the high section, right?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. But I guess that's one of the more lower parts of fan service. But I really loved the final scene of it. I'm a sucker for it. The final scene of Rise of Skywalker, just the entire fleet of people just coming in to save the galaxy. It was super cool just seeing all that. Getting to see Lando again, that was pretty awesome. There was bits of the fan service that I liked and bits I didn't, but there was like really high highs in terms of that. I personally like seeing Dominic Monaghan as Beaumont Kin in episode 9 because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. And episode 8, like I've sprinkled in this throughout this podcast so far, I think visually is one of the best Star Wars films of all time. Like Star Wars isn't really known for its close-ups. I think that it does its close-ups really well. And just the sound design, that fucking explosion, dude. That one explosion with the hyperspace, the holdo maneuver, as they call it. The Praetorian Guard fight, I know people shit on it, like, nowadays with, like, the choreography, but I remember, like I was, like, it was as if I was there, like, in the fight. Like, I was one of them. Like, I was either Rey or Kylo, like, in that fight. Like, I was fighting for my life. Like, it was intense. I felt the heat in that fight, dude. I thought it was super cool. A lot of the stuff in episode 7 were pretty awesome too. I loved getting to see Poe shine. I think the whole thing with Rey, like the reveal that she was actually like the Force user of all, like, the whole time, like, as with all the foreshadowing, like with the mind tricks and all that. Like that was some foreshadowing there. I like seeing like her struggle to actually fight this, like, Sith Lord like after having to take over for Finn. There was a lot. I think episode 8 is honestly the one I enjoy the most because of just how much it offers. Even if it does fall short in some areas. Like, let's be real, each movie falls short in a lot of things, but the things it does handle, for me particularly, I think it really handles well. I like seeing Han again. I like seeing Chewie again. I like seeing them interact with, like, this new cast of characters. I like the chemistry that they have, like, on and off screen. Like, I remember John Boyega always, like, we were at a convention, like, earlier this year, and I remember John Boyega talked all about just how amazing it was to just work with these veteran, like, seasoned actors, as well as, like, new ones, and just getting just build a rapport with these people, and just having a grand old time just making these movies. And it's cool because he's just like one of us. He's a huge Star Wars fan, and still is, even after all the after all the hate for Star Wars kind of died down, like the recent hate, like when they came out. It was honestly refreshing to see, like, he wasn't, like, super jaded after everything that happened. So, like, I don't know. I think, I guess in a real life sense, that's one of the things that I ended up liking about the movies. Like, after the fact, like, it's still just a fun time with, like, a silly little sci-fi trilogy or just saga of movies at the end of the day.
Well, we can unpack the full brevity of that in a moment. Mom, what are your high points for this trilogy?
Just, again, the ideas, I've mentioned it throughout the entire thing, the ideas that episode 8 had put out, of just, there are some, like, the idea of just, let's let the past stay in the past and look towards the future. I feel like at least it gave an attempt to set up, like, hey, all this stuff that happened before, it didn't work. It really doesn't. The idea of just, Jedi of not forming attachments, let's throw that out, try to start anew. And I liked that. Like the idea of just, hey, let's have this Rey, if we're going to have Rey be the Jedi, let's not make her an important person in the grand scheme of things, but still make her own sort of, like, legend, make her own sort of, just good luck, I guess. I know it's weird to say, but I liked some of the episode 8 has its own problems, and so does the rest of them. But I think if they continued down that path, they could have done something great. Just have new ideas, having a new generation actually do something instead of just relying on the old stuff, which I really did like that. Plus, the Luke throwing the lightsaber I thought was hilarious. I think one of the scenes from episode 8 that I thought kind of gave that is with Yoda. With Yoda and Luke when he shows up and just sets fire to all the Jedi stuff. It's like, why are you doing that? Why are you blowing everything up? And it's like, well, it's
the sacred Jedi texts.
It's like, they were kind of useless. That's how we got to the situation where we are now. You gotta make your own stuff and make something new. And I think that was great.
I'd like to add on another high of mine that I just remembered. Just Yoda's entire involvement in episode 8 just was... every time I watch Last Jedi, I would always come away from that scene just extracting a new quote of Yoda from that. And it has so many great moments, and just the brief moment he's in that film. Just imparts so much wisdom. That's how you know like a character is still like as legendary as they are. Just being able to say such wise words, even after, like we are what they grow beyond and all that stuff. It's and with Yoda's score, like Yoda's theme playing in the background, it's just one of those magical like moments of Star Wars. Like, even if you know, like see like the old Jedi tree is burning down, but it's even that is still like it's one of those like bits of cinema that just really just it reminds you like, yeah, this is like the magical like mystical side of Star Wars that you just really kind of come for at times. Like you have the wars and all that, and like all these like weird like Mandalorian's a Western, like all these like big battles, but like at the end of the day, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's just Jedi just trying to create peace and just like finding out the mystery of the Force, and that was like one of those little pockets of just magic of the entire trilogy and of the saga that I just really appreciate.
Back to this though.
And that's a high.
Yeah, no, that is a high. I also like some of the fight scenes, at least in 7 and 8. The one that always comes to mind is Finn with the lightsaber against that one stormtrooper who just stepped the fuck up. He's just a random guy, pulls the thing and almost just kills Finn by himself.
And then Han just comes in with Chewie's bowcaster and just owns him.
You know, I feel like that might be a little bit of a reference to Indiana Jones, you know, just boom.
Yeah, the swordsman guy.
Yeah, but no, I loved that specific fight scene, but I like some of the other ones. Some of them are well choreographed and well done. But that one is the one that always comes to my mind whenever I think of like really fun and good fight scenes, just because of how fun that idea is. It's like, okay, yeah, no, how well trained are the stormtroopers? Like, well, they're actually dangerous. Some of them are actually dangerous now, you know, as opposed to just if we go by like the regular trilogy or the prequels.
They were kind of goofy at times.
They were kind.
Oh, very.
Yeah. I know the clones are very different, like in the prequels, because they're like, oh, they're very well trained because they're clones and they were trained since birth, and like that can be very scary. And I'm like, I love that. And then, you know, when we actually just get to regular people in suits or whatever.
Like, oh no, they actually believe this sort of shit.
Like
they're crazy.
Like
they gotta die. They kill us.
They're too scared.
Well, isn't the whole point of Finn that like not all of them are really believing all this?
Yeah. Well, Finn had doubts. Finn was the only one that we knew that had doubts about it. So
like, I think the idea is just like Finn is the only one who stood up and actually did something about it.
Yeah, like it was his first battle, so he's like, oh shit, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be in this army no more.
I don't want to run the show no more.
Yeah.
But I do like how some of these fight scenes are, and you know, it can. I think at least some of the visuals are at least at the time were pretty good for what they were. I know at least with episode 7, I think they did with 99, but they tried to mix practical effects with just stuff
CGI.
with CGI, and that is a point that I will give to that, because I like to pay respects to your roots by doing that, but still using some CGI for anything super.
Yeah, that's hard to do with
super
practical.
hard, but they did do some stuff with practical that I really did like a lot of the makeup too, like with the effects and makeup, I think are top notch, and I do love that.
Yeah,
it's like it's amazing just how some things are just done. I love that. The music and the scores, I think, is it
John
just
Williams.
is this just John Williams?
It is John Williams. He made Ray's theme and all that.
Yeah,
I love Ray's theme.
Which are good. Like the music itself is good. It's fine.
It's very much it's still a Star Wars film, like in essence.
The soundtrack is half of what I already liked. Well, great soundtrack.
Yeah, at the very least,
Music makes or breaks a thing. Man.
I can give it that. I do like at least some of the planets look. Like, say what we will about how the side quest planet looks. Side quest planet is. Of how necessary it is. I liked how it at least looked.
I will give the side quest this as a high. I love the world building. I said before, I love the world building. I love what Candlelight represents in the grand scheme of the galaxy as a whole. Like, there's only one business in the whole world, the whole galaxy that'll get you this rich war, and it's like this. It's you got another wretched hive of scum and villainy, sure, but it was a different kind of wretched hive of scum and villainy. It wasn't a desert planet. Plus, it was just straight up like just this gaudy casino of just racehorses. Like those horse creatures were pretty.
Well,
cool.
it's like, I guess it's like
these poor like slave children just like tending to the horses, and like all these like these like pompous rich assholes just like making bank, and then it was super satisfying just seeing all these like these like horse things just like run through the town just wrecking shit.
Also,
it was awesome.
Also, the bit with using jumping to light speed in and out, I thought that was a really...
Oh, yeah.
That's
Jump, hyperspace jumping, like skipping or whatever it was.
Yeah, hyperspace skipping.
It was cool. It also kind of represented the pacing of the movie, but it was still super cool.
I thought that itself was cool. I remember, I think it was... No, that was Solo. I remember Solo being...
The Castle Run. The Castle... Okay, Solo...
No, it was one of them with the space battles of being... at least... It was either Solo or episode 7 or 8 or something like that.
For...
Like, just how cool the space battles looked.
You might be thinking of Rogue One.
I think I might be thinking of Rogue One.
Yeah,
I remember Rogue One having an amazing space battle. But we're not talking about that. But...
So I had some good, like, space battles in there, too.
Like, they were...
Air battles.
Space... Again, I can give credit where credit is due. And I think it did win some... I think it won an Emmy for, like, its visual effects. If I remember correctly. But I don't quote me on that.
Was this the same... Was that 20... No, that was Star Trek Beyond. That was 2016, never mind.
Yeah. I think it won something for, like, visual effects.
I'm checking right now.
I will give Last Jedi definitely that point that the visuals, it is the best movie visually speaking. Like, they did a lot with colors, the camera angles, and as you said, the close-ups. I would say that they are the most prominent in Last Jedi. Camera work, I will give Last Jedi that phenomenal work. Kudos for that. Set design, too. I think set design for Last Jedi was really top tier.
Oh, it was.
That and really, it's amazing how much they nailed visuals in Last Jedi for me. Despite everything on it, it's actually the funniest one is that Last Jedi is the most well thought through movie of the entire trilogy because really,
it is, isn't it?
Because J.J. Abrams didn't know what he was doing with 7 and 9, and Rian Johnson came in with an idea of he looked at 7 and made a plan for 8. Which isn't too much, but it's really the best planning we had. But because of that, he actually had an idea of where he wanted to take things. And that's where we get those very nice visuals. Like, I don't know how. They just made the red in Snoke's room very captivating.
I agree.
It's great.
His whole throne room, I love the grand... Like, how it's very empty, but you still feel like it's...
The presence. It's like a full...
His throne is, like, very intimidating. He's got a telescope-looking thing on the side that you don't realize is a telescope till he forces Rey over there.
Yeah.
And then, kind of Chekhov's gun, that thing. Like, it's the only furniture in his room outside his chair. His guards don't even get a footstool. Like he does not care.
If we're talking Force Awakens, by the way, just coming back with the award thing, didn't win any Oscars, but despite receiving 5 nominations, including for visual effects, sound mixing, original score, ultimately losing out to Mad Max Fury Road and The Revenant. In 2016.
Revenant was very good.
Okay, now that's what I remember.
So I will give Last Jedi that. Loved the visuals too, especially the
throne fight scene. You and I
visually that choreography could have used work, but like visually very good fight. Force Awakens.
That throne fight scene goes with any song, by the way.
I also give the hyperspace collision, which that's one of those complaints for the movie that I really don't understand too much about. Like, people really try to debate the specifics. Like, well, if you go to light speed at that point blank like that, actually you're gonna dissipate right then and there. And I'm thinking, shut up.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'd like to remind you, this is a movie about space wizards using laser swords.
A long time ago.
I'm like, look,
in a galaxy
I
far,
get
far
it.
away.
I've made my point about the story, but this is a moment where rule of cool kind of overrides some
exactly.
things.
Exactly. This is why I can't really hate the whole like.
I'm like, first of all, it's like, let's just assume like she didn't go full light speed. Like, maybe she went like sub light.
Somehow
she rammed a giant craft into a fleet. Okay, there's gonna be damage.
Somehow Holdo returned.
And I love how they're like, well, actually that wouldn't work because like if they figured out you could do that in the first place, they would have. And I'm just like, well, then maybe they just came with a better idea later. I don't know.
Look, man, it's just a kids movie. Accept the premise.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
So that's one thing where I'm like, look, I get it. They introduced something, but that's a really good idea. Well, they can explore it later, which they didn't really. But like, I'll go to Force Awakens for highs. Like I said earlier, I think that opening was very strong up until the Falcon. Like, having Rey just, like, not have any clue what she's doing flying that thing, and it was just the will of the Force that got them through that fight.
That was a pretty cool sequence, though, too. The Falcon
no. That when I say the Falcon, I mean, like, when Han finds them.
Okay.
The sequence where they're flying around and they are just desperate to shake 2 TIE fighters.
Yeah.
I thought that was very well done, and everything up to then I thought was good. And another high for the overall trilogy for me was just Kylo Ren. I think he was the best character, bar none. His development from the 7, 8, and 9. Now I've never read enough of the Legends to know how like the Legends Han and Leia's kids are. I know like some stuff really goes down. I don't know any of that. I just know that like stuff goes down. With this guy, I think they did well enough. I think Adam Driver, for one, just sold it with his acting.
He's a great actor.
Man just put 110% into every scene he's in, and I was there for it. He was the best part of Last Jedi. He was the best part of Rise of Skywalker. Like, I think if I could really give a compliment to Rise of Skywalker, I like the fight between him and Rey on the water planet. That was actually a really well done fight, because I love how Rey is just breaking mentally the whole fight. She's doing like Palpatine moves the whole time. She's the one who does the first like force on the lightsaber. She is so mad. She is pulling Sith moves in the middle of the fight. And Kylo is just so hilariously calm. Like there's the moment where she does like the Palpatine with the straight saber in the air and with the backflip when the waves hit them, and Kylo just like strolls out of the waves, kind of like with a look on his face,
So
like
badass.
well, like his face is calm. He's like, was that necessary? He's like I'm a little wet, but like you didn't have to do that.
Another example of rule of cool.
Oh yeah, I will definitely give that. His whole development, I think the only thing I wish that didn't happen is that he dies.
Yeah.
Because watching the movie, it's like he revives. I thought it was funny because like he has Rey's body, but I don't know like what direction Adam Driver was given. He just realized like, oh yeah, I can do this, because he kind of like fidgets a little bit, like, oh yeah, like tries to position her.
He remembers like training with Luke. It's like, hell yeah, right. I can revive people.
He had a Cal
Right,
Kestis
we can
moment where
revive
you
people.
remember.
You just hear Anakin's Force Ghost going, what?
Yeah. No, Jedi never said taught me how to do that. Okay.
The
okay.
Force realizes that Force heal is a thing.
Force. Okay.
It's a light side power.
Anakin never got the memo.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Didn't say
Force,
a word.
Force heal is a very, very, very weird thing in the Star Wars universe, because it fluctuates depending on the media. You have it in like Super Star Wars. You have it in Episode 3 as powers you can use. In Episode 9, it's described as like you giving some of your life energy to someone else, which is why Kylo dies. So like it's a very, I don't know, it depends on the media, but it's a very fickle aspect of Force, which I think it's cool. I wish they kind of, but obviously people are at liberty to make the whole like, Obi-Wan, why don't you Force heal me? I'm gonna die, or something like Qui-Gon. But no, it's like, I don't know. It is one of those things.
I mean, I guess we could put it down that because it's more of like an Easter egg thing, but Rey did save the Jedi text before leaving the planet.
I love
Which
that.
I guess you could make the argument that she actually read them for like she's the first Jedi in 1,000 years to read a book.
Yeah. Read a book, people.
I don't read. I can't read.
Get out of here.
Well, I mean, everything they do is on holotapes, where it's like explained to you, or you're just looking at a screen. Like this is the first time someone's actually like touched paper.
Yeah.
According to like supplemental material, that library that is on that is. You remember the librarian from like episode 1, 2, and 3?
Jocasta Nu.
Jocasta Nu. She's the one that
they really tried to make important.
I think she's the one that left the text there.
If an item does not appear on records, it does not exist.
Sounds like an absolute to me.
Yeah. She's the one that left the text there on that planet, which was Luke finds, which is really kind of funny that Luke goes into planet exile. It's like, oh, look at all these Jedi texts that I found.
Like he has a right to preserve. He has a right to preserve history. He's a Jedi.
So the next part we were really supposed to do is discussion on the story as a whole, which I
think we've done enough of that. We didn't really talk about like the plot from beginning to end.
Well, like we went on much more of a tangent, but I guess if we want to streamline it, so the main gist of this plot is Luke goes into hiding because he believes he failed to train the next generation of Jedi,
and then
Han and Leia get divorced because their son, the one who burned the temple down, Luke's temple down in the first place, turns to the dark side because. I guess if we take episode 9 in retrospect, it was all Palpatine's doing from the start.
Fucking, it's always Palpatine's
I don't know.
Motherfucker.
Personally, it was very difficult to watch episodes 7 and 8 with Palpatine in mind. He just really did not fit that narrative.
Oh, because again, it wasn't thought up until episode 9.
Yeah, but anyway, that happens.
It could have fit if they actually like intentionally sprinkled it throughout, like as if that was a plan the whole time.
I disagree.
If it was, if
100%.
they did that.
So right now we know that there was splinter cells of the Empire that came back.
Yeah.
Now, per Disney, they didn't really think through how to do it. From the looks of it, this is recorded before Ahsoka Season 2 comes out. It looks like they're hinting at Ahsoka Season 2 being how the First Order came to be. Have you guys seen Season 1?
I have not seen Ahsoka yet.
No.
Anyway, the ending for Season 1 hints at how the First Order came to be. So whenever you do that. But anyway, Splinter Cell for the Empire comes to be. The Republic, which for some reason wants to keep the name Resistance, even though they're the dominating government.
Resistance is actually a Splinter Cell of the Republic, because that was a group that Leia herself formed when the politicians were like, yeah, no, there's no war in Ba Sing Se. Pretty much. That's pretty much how the Resistance became to be.
I'm guessing that's supplemental.
Or rather, they just didn't want to.
It's supplemental material, yes.
They didn't want to put in the time and effort and resources into fighting a war, because they were like, oh, they're not going to attack the Republic.
Was it in that romance novel they were really trying to push before Force Awakens came out?
Battlefront 2
that book was everywhere.
Battlefront 2 straight up just explains that in a bio for like any of the Resistance skins.
But anyway, Resistance comes out trying to fight First Order. They're trying to look for Luke. First Order is looking for Luke as well. Then they just, one of the stormtroopers turns on them right when they find Luke's location with the map. And he finds a scavenger. Scavenger joins them. They go on a wacky adventure, and they become the main characters as they fight the First Order.
Which are really bad at their jobs.
They're all really bad at their jobs. Both sides.
They're rookies.
To be very fair, so it was in the other movies. They were also really bad at their jobs for the most part. At least when it came to the main characters, because, you know,
they're only competent when you're playing Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. Then the stormtroopers can throw hands.
Yeah.
The thing is, if, you know, they were actually super competent, there'd be no plot. But,
I actually really do wish, now that you think of it, that guy that fought Finn...
Traitor.
That really should have been Phasma.
Yeah, that should have been Phasma.
Because think of it this way. Like, you set up the rival between them, have a one-on-one fight... Have the things so happen. She gets hit with the bow blaster from Chewie, but because she has special armor, she lives.
Yeah.
Have it be like when they find her later on, she's got this huge dent where it hit her, and you can tell like that if it was any other armor, she would be dead.
Yeah.
I really think they could have. I think that change would have just made Phasma in Force Awakens specifically much better.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's
anything with Phasma would have been anything making Phasma better would have been preferable.
So as far as like the overarching story goes, I think that really ties back into how I say there really should have been a time gap between 7 and 8, because in my mind, when I try to conceptualize this trilogy, I see 7 and 8 in their own category in my mind, and then 9 is off in its own camp. Because 7 and 8 are literally the only Storm movies without a time gap, they can't be separated, honestly, in a way.
Yeah.
Really, if I think about it, 7 and 8 have a plot going, and 9 is like that meme of the three-headed dragon where the first two are serious and the third one is
the two-part trilogy. The two-part trilogy.
This is two-part trilogy, but in reverse.
Yeah.
Because in this case, the first two parts are actually linked, while the third one is doing its own thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like in any other two-part trilogy, it's the first movie does its own thing, and 2 and 3 try to make a connecting narrative with the first.
Usually it's the first that can be like, oh, it could be self-contained. We wouldn't have to go any further than this. But if you wanted to, here's 2 more movies.
Well, usually the issue with like a two-part trilogy is that
the
second entry starts to feel a little superfluous.
Mm.
Mostly because the first movie, like take The Matrix. We have the first movie, which was initially made to be a standalone film, right?
Yeah.
In a two-part trilogy, what you usually have is the second movie is a lot of stuff meant to build up to a finale in the third movie. It happens with The Matrix, where they do a lot of build-up to what's going on with the machines, Smith, and all that getting a climax in the third movie, but leaving the second movie really bloated with a lot of stuff happening. And to a lesser extent, I think Pirates of the Caribbean is one of the better two-part trilogies. In my opinion.
If I remember correctly, Back to the Future is a two-part trilogy.
Yes.
That's like one of the OG two-part trilogies.
Yeah.
In a way, you could try to argue that Star Wars itself is a two-part trilogy. Because
with the Skywalker saga, like Anakin, Luke, and then Rey with her own thing.
I meant the original trilogy.
No, you're talking about the original trilogy.
Well, the saga.
Where the first movie basically could have been a standalone movie. It would have been fine, probably.
And then episodes 5 and 6 came out after that. I don't know for sure how much George had really done, but as far as like production of the film was concerned, the first movie was made to be a standalone, and the next two were made to follow with their own thing.
Yeah. Honestly, though, we can probably move on to a bit with that, because I don't think there's really anything else with that we haven't already covered. Do you, honest to God, think that this sequel trilogy was more harmful or helpful?
I would argue more harmful, but I can see areas where it helped.
I think
Same.
that it has been used as a springboard for other side projects, but I do legitimately think that it's more harmful, a lot more harmful.
Yeah, I would argue as far as like the harm is concerned, I just don't think the writing for this trilogy was good enough to really this trilogy was not good enough to justify getting rid of Legends, as bloated as Legends was. But the thing I would definitely say that I actually think was helpful is that I think it woke up a lot of the fan base to the prequels.
Yes.
I will definitely say when the sequels came out, the prequels were suddenly loved. You hypocrites, but
I know! You get it!
I mean, I'm
Sorry.
I'm betting like in 5 years it's going to be the case that the sequels are going to get a ton of love when
I'm hoping so,
when
honestly.
Disney does their sequel trilogy.
Oh God.
I guess their post sequel trilogy.
Yeah. Prequel trilogy in this case.
It relies too much on just remember the original trilogy, because it always goes back to the original trilogy. Everything. It doesn't matter if it's like Clone Wars, Rogue One, everything. It always goes back to this. Honest to God, in the whole zeitgeist sort of thing, it hurts everything that came before it and what comes after it. Because you know where it's going to end up. You know what's going to happen. There are better ideas that were put out in like other different bits, but because it has to fall in between basically stuff that's done in the original trilogy and stuff that's done in the sequels, it harms things. Like Mandalorian Season 2, it has to worry about these things in the sequels. And because of that, it bogs down the story. Among other things, Book of Boba Fett. You can't really have him interact with anybody important in the because otherwise it just kind of ruins everything.
I agree with what you say there. I think one of the issues that they did with the sequels is there is good supplemental material with the sequels. I think, like as we have mentioned, we like games like Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor.
Even though it's not really related to the sequels.
It's not related, but it takes place in the sequel canon. It's the new canon, but you'll have that. But I will agree, like when you look at something like Mandalorian Season 3 and Bad Batch, which are both shows that try their best to build up the cloning project to justify Palpatine. When you watch those two shows give much better build-up for a cloning storyline idea than the payoff itself. Because the payoff is just Palpatine return. It's a justification for that. But Season 3 of Mandalorian, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that season, really brings up the idea of cloning as this dark thing. And in Bad Batch, the idea of expanding on the cloning idea, I'm not going to go too much in the Bad Batch, but they really double down on the cloning experiment and make it very personal for the clones, which is how they make you care about the cloning process, because the whole thing is such a threat to them. They really, really backtracked so much to try to justify the sequels that they started turning out supplemental material that was really too good for the payoff that they were trying to supplement.
Damage control, in a way?
Too much damage control.
So much damage control.
Which I would say is helpful because it's forced Disney to make better products. For example, Andor came out, and I honestly think Andor is a legitimately great show.
It's very much a self-contained sort of thing where it doesn't care about anything else other than its own story. And I love that.
Yes, I would. In that way, the sequel trilogy was helpful in that
it produced other great non-sequel.
Well, here's the thing that makes me really stop from going like full harmful. Is that, like, you were bringing up the whole idea of zeitgeist earlier, right?
Yeah.
Does anyone here remember the zeitgeist prior to Disney's purchase of Star Wars?
I don't.
There was still like a good bit of hype around like Clone Wars at the time, because Clone Wars I think was still going on, but I think it was also ending at the time.
This was what, 2012?
Yeah, 2012,
I remember
13.
at the time being just like, we wanted anything at the time.
The thing I recall, guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, the zeitgeist was people were getting frustrated with George Lucas at this time. Like, this was still back when there were still the prequel hate. It was like, what, 7 years since
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, up to the purchase. At this point, people were getting fed up with like some of the extended material, wondering when there's going to be new Star Wars stuff, and George was not really relenting on what more he was doing. So I remember when they made the purchase, there was a faction that was upset because they knew what Disney would do, but at the same time, people were happy because they were because Disney would actually start doing new stuff. And I remember that. So in a way, I can't be too upset because in a way they gave us what we wanted. People wanted more Star Wars that they weren't getting from George Lucas. Disney gave it, and it just wasn't what they wanted. So I can't be really upset up to Force Awakens in that regard, because it kind of brought the fandom together again, now that we were getting new content. And that was very helpful for Star Wars. It was everything that afterwards that just kind of denigrated to the state of apathy that people have in it now. So,
yeah, it was divisiveness, then apathy, like after
well,
this
it was so funny because it brought it out of, I wouldn't say apathy, but it was declining into apathy more around this time.
Yeah. I mean, people still rave about Star Wars, like with Andor and stuff. Like, it still put out good stuff.
Well, they do, but now they have gone more into apathy because Disney really botched it at the end.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, their new content... who's watched Skeleton Crew?
I have not.
Who has watched Skeleton Crew?
I didn't even know it existed until you just said it.
I do want to see that. I've heard good things.
The only thing I know about it is that Jude Law is in it. That's all I know.
I didn't even know they released a new thing. It's because I think at this point, like, the worst thing you can do to any property is botch an ending. Because the ending is what makes or breaks certain things for people. And at least for general public, unless you're like super into this stuff where you'll be okay with whatever there is, because like, oh, there's more stuff. It basically throws it out as like, okay, this whole thing's botched. I don't need to do anything. It's like Marvel nowadays.
I was waiting for the Marvel comparison.
Well, you kind of have to. Because it's just like, okay, let's put out a bunch of supplemental material. Hopefully some of this will stick, and then we'll go from there. But because of just how botched the sequel trilogy is, in the minds of people, they can't with it. Like, Episode 9 was such a terrible thing for a good chunk of people. I could be wrong about it, but it's from what I can tell.
I agree with you.
Yeah. It ruined it for a good chunk of people, and they'll only come back for anything like Ahsoka or something, just because, like, oh, it's a character I remember from when I was a kid, because Clone Wars was good. People will watch Bad Batch because, oh, that's a Clone Wars thing. And at least it's with, I think it's with the same sort of writers, but,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, you can't quote me, but, like, it seems like it with that sort of writing, it was, and besides that, for very specific cases, there could be a really good product. Like, again, Skeleton Crew is probably a really good product. Who knows? But I don't have any interest in watching it because I've been burned way too many times.
I could agree.
Yeah.
What do you think, Indy? Would you say that as a whole, the sequel has been more harmful or helpful to Star Wars?
I'm half and half. I definitely acknowledge how much crap the sequel trilogy has gotten. It's honestly awful to see, and which is why I'm so, like I said before, I'm so happy that people like John Boyega aren't really fazed by like all that hate. They still remain such great Star Wars fans to this day, and there's still a lot of great Star Wars fans out there that appreciate it regardless of all that. Star Wars as a franchise and as a fan base is still very much well and alive, and there's still people that appreciate the good, and even in some cases the bad of the trilogy. I acknowledge that once again, not without its flaws, but I'd say it's done more harm than help, but like the help is very much there. It's just hard to kind of find that nowadays. Like you said before, in like maybe 5-10 years, whether or not they release a follow-up trilogy or just any sort of like major like mainline movie, I feel like at some point the sequel trilogy will probably get the prequel trilogy treatment, in which it'll be like, you know, it's not great, but it's not as bad as I remember.
Do you think that's deserved?
I don't know if it'll be deserved per se, but like it'll be nice to see people at least come around to what's good about it. Because there are merits to it.
If I remember correctly, wasn't there a lot of studio meddling too?
There was.
Oh, that's just
so
status
the
quo.
I know that's a given.
That's status quo for like the last 10 years with Disney.
For anything, really. So the plan was, for those that don't know or never knew, the whole plan, the whole semblance of a plan in terms of directors for the trilogy was it was going to be J.J. Abrams for 7, Ryan Johnson for 8, and Colin Trevorrow for 9, but Colin Trevorrow dropped out of 9, I think, last minute or something like that.
Right, I completely forgot their Duel of the Fates script.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember reading, like, all I know about whatever Colin Trevorrow was going to do was I think he was actually seriously considering having episode 9 take place in outer space, which would have been interesting.
I think it would have.
Yeah. I remember concept art for this where like Rey was rocking a dual-wield lightsaber and like just cutting down stormtroopers and like something.
Her dark version had like that double.
It was
double
something
saber.
that kind of looked like the space colony art from the Sonic games.
Yeah.
At least that's what the concept art made me think she was in from the angles they were doing. And they were making Kylo Ren like a real villain, which is really what I wanted from episode 9. I wanted this man to be like a villain.
Now you real villain.
Here's another thing about episode 9 that I think would have been really cool to see, and we talked about this. Like building up to episode 9, like this was like a personal zeitgeist for us. Like we were so hyped, like seeing like when we noticed that Rey brought like the texts onto the Falcon towards the end of the movie. We were just like, oh man, what if she like trains certain resistance members like that just how happened to be force sensitive to like be Jedi as well, and just like lead them into the charge like against the First Order, and it'd be like an all-out battle. Kylo Ren's like as Supreme Leader, just leading all these other First Order troopers like in a battle, and it's just gonna be like a whole like they just this huge action sequence that actually does mean something.
Right, because we were thinking
like a new generation of Jedi.
I forgot about this because they forgot about it too. The Knights of Ren.
Yeah, right. That was the thing.
Who are supposed to be ex-members of Luke's school that Kylo turned to his side. They're supposed to be Force users, but we
saw them in visions of Rey's in episode 7.
Which would have been a cool thing, like Rey training Finn to be like a Jedi, like he's like her top student kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she's got a group and they fight the Knights of Ren, and it's actually like which would have been cool, because you guys remember those CG scenes they made for like the old Republic games of like armies of Jedi and Sith fighting each other.
Dude,
like
I've still yet to
we
play
have
any of
not
their old
seen
Republic.
that on a live action scale yet, where it's just a massive Sith and a massive Jedi fighting. They could have done that.
Dude, I still have not played. I still have yet to play anything from the old Republic, and I want that. I want that.
I want that clone trooper that bum rushed a Sith Lord with a grenade and won.
Dude.
I think if we went down that route, we could have actually made the case of. Well, I guess they quote unquote connecting bits. Like the whole thing was about about Rey and Mr. Ben going down their own Mr. Ben with Big Wide Ben going down their own paths.
Why did I, when you said Mr. Ben, my mind went to Mr. Bean.
Okay, Mr. Bean is Star Wars. Mr. Bean is Star Wars, episode 10.
Episode 9, but Kylo Ren's changed with Mr. Bean.
Kylo Bean.
The movie goes up like 5% on the tomato meter.
Gotta check.
Okay, but back on track here. Like, it could have been the connecting thread that we could have needed, especially if we bunch up the bit of Aid of Hope, let the past die, let's have the new generation, and this is what the new generation of Jedi and Sith are. You know, the rule of 2 can go fuck itself, and all of that.
Well, it came to its fruition through Palpatine.
That is true.
And he botched it.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. He did tear down the Order as Darth Bane wanted the rule of 2 to work, but he just didn't do it in the totality that he wanted him to.
Yeah, but I think that would have been really cool. But moving on from all of that, to be honest, what do you guys think? Do you think they should try to salvage this? Or do you think they can just let the past die, let it start over?
I think, going back to what I mentioned on the zeitgeist regarding Disney's buyout, it was refreshing for them to start again with, it wasn't a clean slate, but like start again with production on Star Wars, and that brought the fan base together for a while. I think what they need to do here is a similar thing. Not necessarily, maybe give it Star Wars to someone who will do more with it, but I think what they should do is clean slate it again in as far as like producing stuff is concerned, and just say, let's forget the sequels happened. We get it. It had its thing. I think we could make the sequels more helpful than harmful if they decided to make this a jumping off point for better material. Now, if they want to... like, there's some stuff they could, do what James Gunn did with Peacemaker and like make some edits to make it work with the new canon. Like Peacemaker was working with the DCEU, but now they have it with the new DC universe with like James Gunn's Superman.
Yeah.
Just making one edit. They could like make Rogue One and Andor work in a new canon if they wanted to.
They can take like
or Bad Batch. They can make that work.
Keep
too.
all the stuff that is before that's either just before the original trilogy and any Clone Wars stuff because Jon Favreau actually knows how to write Star Wars. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they should definitely. They've already proven that they can't salvage it. It's going to be 7 years. Well, it's been 6 years now from like a few days ago when Episode 9 came out, and in that time period, none of their projects have been able to salvage it. Really, all they really did was highlight that they had much more potential with build-up with their supplemental material than what their payoff was. So I think now is the time to try to get back in everyone's good graces and start with something new. Just let the past die, but in this case, the past is the thing that wants the past to die.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, I don't think they should like completely scrap it like, oh, this never happened, that sort of thing. Like, what's canon is canon, even if it does suck to so many people.
Say that to Legends.
Yeah, I know.
Legend.
That
Mr. Indy Bob, Legends would like to have a word with you.
If it did happen, that'd be crazy. But I wouldn't mind, because like at least they're trying to do something different. Even if it would be kind of just clear damage control again. It's like, yeah, we're kind of just. I like the idea of just like jumping off of the sequel trilogy into something new. Like I think that would be a better way to handle it rather than just like completely forget it. I remember people wanted to just straight up remake, like had petitions to just remake The Last Jedi with how much they.
That's a bit much.
Or even Rise of Skywalker.
Like that's trying to.
Yeah, like that's the.
Because then you have to still take Force Awakens into account, which had an ending that as I said, I don't think was a good jumping off point for a sequel.
Yeah, it's like. Y'all realize how hard it is to make a movie, let alone a good movie.
I mean, they've made some great fan stuff, but
that's
I don't think anyone has a fan budget big enough. Unless you want to go Spider-Man Lotus with that, but that had its own issue.
Or that Uncharted bit where they had like a 10-minute sequence.
Damn.
Okay, well they should have just flat out hired those people for the movie.
I agree.
That movie's a whole different discussion.
But back on the topic with this, just
I agree. I think as a trailer, like. Sequel trilogy could work as a jumping off point, like you said, like for something new. I think that's what they're kind of doing with this upcoming Rey movie that they're teasing. I'd be interested to see where they go with that, but cautiously optimistic.
So you're more on the salvage side then?
Yeah,
I think.
What do you think, Bomb? Salvage or
let the past die? Kill it if you have to.
Okay.
Just again, I don't think it can be saved. I really don't. I would love to be proven wrong. I really would, but. They screwed up so much with this. Now they have to take all of this stuff into account. What's stopping them from making just another Palpatine and be like, oh, somehow Palpatine returned again? Ooh.
Bring Oscar Isaac back, and he has like twice the bags under his eyes now as he delivers the line.
I know, especially with new technologies or whatever. They can do whatever the fuck they want these days. Kind of like with de-aging or whatever. But they can't. I think if they make a new thing, just. Legacy, don't put any legacy actors really into it. Maybe except for maybe Lando if you really want or something.
Find a role for Dwayne Johnson somehow.
Oh God,
that's the thing. I actually
Dwayne Johnson as the Rancor.
You know what's cool
know what
about
I believe
Star Wars? You know what's cool about Star Wars that you saying that really remind me of. A lot of people kind of got their start off of Star Wars. Like, yeah, it's not exactly. It was never really like the kind of series where like. Big name actors like the classic like the standard like Hollywood. Oh, here's Dwayne Johnson. Here's Chris Pratt. Here's Scarlett Johansson.
Well, Harrison Ford was actually super big when Star Wars came
out. That's like one of the few exceptions. Most of the time, it never really was like big name actors. We could argue Natalie Portman and Samuel L. Jackson, but like it was never really about like the star power. It was just literally just getting a group of like well qualified, decent actors together, just form something cool and. The acting could people are gonna say about the prequels, especially the acting was hit or miss. But
I think with the sequels, I do feel bad for some of these because I know Daisy Ridley did a few things that after these movies. I don't know how much work John Boyega has gotten. I kind of hope he has more work, but
Oscar Isaac at least does have some work, like Moon Knight and whatnot.
He did.
Wait, I'm talking about John Boyega.
Yeah, I was saying Oscar. I was.
Oh, Oscar Isaac's fine.
Kylo Ren, of course.
He's fine.
Kylo Ren, of course.
Oh.
Sorry, Adam Driver. Sorry.
Hasn't been in a movie since 2022.
What movie was he in 2022?
The Woman King.
Never heard of it.
Never heard.
I heard of that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Now, wow.
That was pretty decent.
That was
decent
2022.
I know. They apparently there's a movie in 2023 called They Cloned Tyrone.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch this. that has who
He
brought
said that in the pen.
that has Who Brought the Potato Salad vibes with that.
Oh
name.
yeah. Oh guys, you haven't seen Who Brought the Potato Salad, or Who Made the Potato Salad with Jaleel White,
Okay, but like back to
certified hood classic.
Okay, but back to just we're getting a little off topic here. But
I think honestly,
we
these movies should just be disregarded. I understand that trying to decanonize movies is difficult with a general public that, as we have made very clear on our opinions of supplemental material, are not going to really... I can't think of a movie series that's decanonized entries and tried to make it work publicly. Like, oh no, these don't count.
didn't the Alien movies try to do that?
No, those movies are canon.
I remember there was something. There was some sort of thing with the... I know it was the Terminator movies. That was it. They decanonized, I think, some of the later ones. If I remembered correctly.
That's not exactly how... I think the only time...
I know they did it for at least some of them. Like, they decanonized something. Or at the very least...
The movies went back and basically did...
handy now.
Shush.
they basically pulled some timey-wimey BS to try to, like, rewrite how the other films played out, to try to, like, make more plot stuff happen that really didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, depending on who you ask about Terminator 2 is where it ends.
They brought back poor Arnold. Come on. Actually, I think he'd probably enjoy doing those. But, honestly, with what we think, at least with those out of the way, just closing with just what I honest to God think, there were some good ideas in in the sequel trilogy. I would have loved for them to put stuff in, especially in episode 8. I think they could have went along with it and they could have made it really good, but they fucking landed on their face planted, and just they can't really salvage what they can. Probably take some ideas from certain bits, but I don't think they can salvage it.
Got it.
Especially since, legacy. If they want to use legacy actors again, they're kind of missing.
I think they lost that ship. That window's closed.
Yeah.
I would say my closing remarks, I think our discussion actually has me rethinking a few points from initial, because going through the helpful versus harmful, I think I have a little more appreciation for Force Awakens just because this conversation made me remember the zeitgeist of leading up to it and how people thought at the Disney merger. So I would say I have a little more grace for specifically Force Awakens now, because I think once Last Jedi... Because Force Awakens happened and then Rogue One came out, and I honestly thought Disney was on a roll at that point. Because Rogue One was... I thought Force Awakens was still fine, and Rogue One was great, and Last Jedi had... So I'm actually more appreciative of it now just for how much that revived Star Wars in people's eyes. But my opinions of everything after that are basically the same. I do appreciate the fact that they wanted Last Jedi to be something different. I don't like the different that they made it, but I do appreciate wanting to do something different. And I actually like Rise of Skywalker less now after doing this retrospective. So actually, like, the scales went a little more like up in the back, down in the front, rethinking this whole thing. So
Just up, and just kind of down.
Up, down, like a... choked out trying to, like, climb out. Like, they put the cement shoes right now, but you're like 2 feet from the edge to
Fucking
climb
fucking Dark Knight Rises.
They threw you a little too close to the shore, and you can almost taste the air bubbles until like a giant somehow materializes and shoves you back in the water.
Shaggy Dog story ass shit.
Basically, so. Those are my closing remarks. A little more appreciation for the start of it, less appreciation for the end. Those are my remarks. Indy?
I like to... Full disclosure, I have not actually seen them. I at the very least, I've not seen 9 since I first watched it. So.
Opinion invalidated. Get out.
All right. No, I think it's about the same. Since we came into this, I acknowledge these movies aren't perfect. Far from it. None of the movies are perfect. Let's be real. But, these ones are especially like definitely lower on the list. I was never really the kind of person to be like have an objective favorite or least favorite of either of any of the movies.
I am.
Oh yeah, but this isn't about you right now. Don't do that. Anyway,
you're involved in this one, Harry. You're not involved in this anymore, Harry.
I think you're very much involved. Not right now. Anyway, it's still a mixed bag for me overall. Like I definitely have to give them all a rewatch at some point after this at some point. But like as it stands, I know it's not great, but I'm gonna personally just kind of like take what I know that I love about these films and just hold on to that. But I'm not gonna like go around singing my praises like online, like, oh, these movies are great. These movies were always loved, like how the prequel trilogy kind of gets these days. I'm not gonna go around doing that because I know the truth. I was around for it. I'm prepared to just listen to that and just be like, yeah, you're right, and just acknowledge that, because at this point, like I said, I'm at the unconditional / like who cares like state of Star Wars at right now. Like I don't hate it, I always love it, but it's like you give me an opinion on Star Wars and it's like I don't feel it.
What happened to preserving the zeitgeist?
Like I said, this is the great thing about just being an enjoyer, not a fan, an enjoyer. There's a difference. There's a very clear distinction. An enjoyer of something. Wow, okay. He's already cracking his knuckles. There's a difference between being an enjoyer and a fan of something. An enjoyer, for me, in my eyes, takes what they love about it and just it's mine. It's theirs. It's something special that I hold. That was the zeitgeist for me. That was just everything that I loved about these films. That I did like about these films, and just hold that close to me and just kind of keep to myself. Like I don't have to, because I know how people are online. I'm not going to be like, oh man, this scene was awesome, or like say anything positive about anything, because I know how people get. I know how rabid Star Wars fans get online.
Turn off the flash.
You can say that about.
No, I love that. I absolutely love that scene. It's so fucking. I rewatch that every so often, but no. It's and to be fair, that one's pretty tame compared to everything that came after, like in real life. But I'm of that camp of just like, yeah, these weren't great, but I appreciate I appreciate what was given to us. Like the really nice things about it, I really appreciate those, and I'll take those to heart always. But I know they're not perfect. So
I think out of all of these, we can all agree on one thing: the ending in Rogue One was really good, especially the bit with Darth Vader. I love that bit. So good.
Yes, as our podcast clearly led up to.
Yeah, literally. That hey, it's how the sequel trilogy does it.
Yes, we're gonna do this exactly how Rogue One did it. We're gonna do all this stuff, and then we're just gonna talk about Vader at the end.
Right? Yeah, we're just gonna slam Vader in there because that's the Disney way.
That is this is the Disney way.
Sting him on a stick, like, ooh, you like Darth Vader? You like Darth Vader? Go fight him! Go fight him!
Oh, you almost killed him! You had to get quicker than that.
Help us! But I
need help.
I do believe that kind of wraps up everything. So I hope everyone enjoyed this, and maybe if there's another big topic we want to talk about, we'll come back and do more of this. But
yeah,
I think that's it, really.
Yes, join us for our Kids Next Door retrospective next.
Oh God, I have a lot to say about that.
No, that's gonna happen if we ever do a Ben 10 retrospective.
Oh man!
Oh God, I have even more to say about that.
May the Force be with y'all. Bye.